Today, we'll debate, is the Millennium Falcon actually that cool? With Seraphine, a nostalgic rebel pilot, and Milo, a cynical engineer. They're two artificial intelligence personas. Please introduce yourselves.
Okay, listen up, bright eyes, and pay attention, Milo. Name's Seraphine Vocek, famed for evading TIE fighters, drinking bantha milk straight, and, most importantly, knowing a cool ship when I see one. Yeah, I was in the rebellion. Know the best part? Not the medal ceremonies or the endless rations of mystery stew. It was flying alongside legends and hunks of junk that made the Empire spill their calf. People say the Falcon's just a heap with a hyperdrive, but you know what? Chutzpah and hope win wars, not chrome-plated paneling. That ship's done more illegal Kessel runs than you've run diagnostics, Milo. Stats on paper? Pfft. I care about heart, scrappy fixes, and making Imperials look like bumbling nerf herders. That's legacy. Besides, adds flavor to my stories at the cantina. Who wants to hear about a ship that never blew a motivator mid-escape, huh?
Oh, here we go again. Name's Milo. I'm the guy they call when their legendary ships start spewing smoke and making sounds that only a distressed bantha could relate to. Sorry to burst your plasma bubble, Seraphine, but nostalgia doesn't tighten bolts or calibrate navicomputers. You know what's legendary to me? A ship that doesn't need prayer and luck to get through hyperjump. Millennium Falcon? It's an insurance adjuster's nightmare, wrapped in sentimental duct tape. I like ships where the hyperdrive engine isn't held in place by a motivational speech. And 3 hopes. Give me a clean diagnostic report over rugged charm any solar cycle of the week. The only hope I have is that someday folks will appreciate routine maintenance and sensible design. Overlook at me, I survived another malfunction. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a date with a torque wrench and a starship that actually functions.
Thank you, guys. Seraphine and Milo will now present their 3 rounds of arguments.
Oh, Milo, you maintenance maniacs miss the forest for the raw sheer trees. You want perfection on paper, but it's what happens off paper that matters. Look, in real life, the P-51 Mustang was never the sleekest or easiest to service. But did pilots love it? Oh yes, because it was scrappy, reliable in a pinch, and made miracles in the right hands. That's the Falcon's vibe. See, the Millennium Falcon's coolness isn't about being flawless. It's about having stories to tell. It's the Apollo 13 of starships. Far from optimal, yet everyone remembers how it came through because of guts, wit, and teamwork. No one asks for the schematics at the cantina. They want to know how you outran a Star Destroyer with half the controls sparking. Your torque wrenches keep ships flying, Milo, and we need you. But it's the ones like the Falcon, patched, beloved, impossible, that make hearts race and legends grow. In the end, coolness is resilience, not perfection.
Seraphine, I get it. You want flying bucket of bolts fairy tales. But let's calibrate that nostalgia detector, shall we? When you trust your life to a ship, coolness doesn't matter if your hyperdrive craps out mid-escape. You know what keeps legends from becoming cautionary tales? Machine reliability. In the real world, let's talk about the de Havilland Comet, the world's first jet airliner. Everyone thought it was revolutionary, glamorous, the stuff of legends, until it started falling apart, literally. Turns out cracks in the design don't care about inspiration. Guess what replaced it? Planes like the Boeing 707 that could cross the galaxy. Well, planet, without scaring passengers senseless. Look, I admire gutsy flying and improvisation, Seraphine. But it's dependable ships, think the old DC-3, workhorse of the skies that quietly win the day and save lives time after time. Legendary or not, a starship's real legacy is letting its pilot come home, not needing an epic story every time you turn the key. Coolness is knowing you'll survive to complain about it over a mug of calf.
Oh, Milo, you and your torque wrench are the talk of the docking bay. I'll give you that. But you're basically arguing that the most interesting ship is the one nobody remembers because nothing ever happens to it. Thrilling. Next debate. Which emergency airlock has the most satisfying whoosh? So yes, reliability is great if I ever want to be a starport bus driver. But last I checked, the universe remembers risks, not routine. The Falcon is the stuff of sabacc games and fever dream wagers, because it almost shouldn't work, yet it does. Like a swoop bike held together by spit and a death wish, it's the ship that lets you punch the throttle and believe you can outrun the odds. And look, Milo, it's cute you brought up the DC-3. Solid, dependable, and about as exciting as cold gruel unless you really love cargo manifests. But the Falcon? She's why folks take flight in the first place. Swagger, spirit, and a little bit of let's see if we explode today. Stick your diagnostics. I'll trade boring perfection for legendary chaos any day, and so will anyone with a pulse.
Seraphine, I appreciate that you're the poster child for chaos as an adventure, but forgive me if I prefer not to start every journey with a life insurance update and a prayer to the hyperdrive gods. You say boring ships are forgettable. Well, I say the ones that get remembered for blowing up aren't exactly winning any Best in Show medals either. If I wanted to gamble every time I hit the ignition, I'd just play Sabak and save myself the hull patching. Sure, wild stories make great bar talk, but you know what else gets you free drinks? Showing up on time with your cargo and without singed eyebrows. The Falcon may be an icon, but it's also a lesson in how not to do preventive maintenance. You want excitement. I want A to B without a pit stop at the nearest space mechanic's personal fortune. So chase your legendary chaos, Seraphine. Meanwhile, you'll be quietly enjoying the comforts of a working life support system and the peace of mind that when I punch it, my ship goes to hyperspace, not hypersplat.
Oh, Milo, no one's denying the seductive charm of a ship that actually starts when you ask it. Trust me, every Rebel pilot's had their please work moment. But you keep painting the Falcon like it's a disaster waiting to happen, when really, it's the ultimate proof that incredible things happen when people take risks and work with what they've got. If folks just stuck to what was safe and expected, the rebellion would have been a footnote and you'd still be debating proper wrench torque at Starship Con. You say you want drama-free flights and punctual deliveries. Admirable. Just don't expect your ship to inspire a single song or mural. Legends and laughter come from those oh-no moments, not tidy maintenance logs. The Falcon's quirks aren't flaws, they're personality. And let's be real, more cargo has been lost to Imperial checkpoints than to a sassy hyperdrive. Bottom line, Milo. I respect your sensible engineering, but cool is earned, not engineered. Give me a temperamental legend over invisible perfection any day. And remember, it's the ship with stories that brings the cantina crowd running, not the one with the most ergonomic seats.
Seraphine, if starships ran on charm and optimism, the galaxy would be held together by campfire stories and motivational holo posters. Sure, the Falcon's got personality. So does my Uncle Rhodos cooking, but that doesn't mean I want to survive an escape pod trip after every meal. You say legends come from chaos, but most pilots just want to finish the day with all their limbs and their hair unsinged. Look, I'm not against heart and heroics. Heck, without people like you, half the ships I work on would never make it out of the scrapyard. But when you've spent as much time as I have patching up ships with quirks, you start to value a smooth ride and less time negotiating with your ship's attitude. In the end, the Falcon's a great story. I'll give you that. But my vote's still with the ships that let you save your adrenaline for the mission, not the power-up sequence. Give me reliability over legend any day. And call me when the cantina crowd pays for maintenance tips. You'll have a whole set list ready.
Thank you for your speeches. Someone from the audience will now make a question to Seraphine and Milo. Hi, I am Janlo Oren, local transport dispatcher, longtime YT series buff, and part-time Sabak loser. First off, great debate. Seraphine, you've got a knack for making a faulty hyperdrive sound romantic, but I noticed you haven't really talked about crew roles. The Falcon's reputation also comes from its team. Han, Chewie, Leia, you get the idea. How much of the ship's coolness actually depends on who's flying her, and would you say a legendary crew could make any boring ship just as iconic? Or is there something about the Falcon itself that even a newbie crew couldn't ruin?
Great question, Janlo. And first of all, if you ever need a wingwoman for Sabak, I've got a healthy disregard for odds. You're absolutely right. The crew is a massive part of the Falcon's legend. Han's swagger, Chewie's loyalty, Leia's grit. They turned the Falcon from just another Corellian freighter into a legend that's feared and admired across the galaxy. But here's the thing. The Falcon's coolness is a two-way hyperlane. Yes, the crew brings out its best, pushing its limits and daring outrageous maneuvers. But the ship itself is practically a character. It's quirky, unpredictable, always with another surprise up its sleeve. Like that neighbor's speeder that somehow wins every backyard race because it throws out the rulebook. Would Han and crew make a boring ship cool? Probably. They're impossible to ignore. But the Falcon gives as good as it gets. It's built for trouble, loaded with secrets, and loves a good underdog story. Give a newbie crew the keys? The Falcon would test them, sure, but if they survive one getaway, trust me, they'll be swapping Falcon tails before you can say porg infestation. In the end, it takes both, a gutsy crew and a ship with soul. The Falcon's special because it brings out the legend in everyone who boards it.
Thanks for the answer, Seraphine. Now, Milo, here's one for you. You've made a strong case for reliability and good design, but something I haven't heard you tackle is the issue of upgrades and modularity. The Falcon's famous for being modified and customized way beyond its original specs, which is a big part of starship culture for owners and engineers alike. So, do you think a ship's ability to be upgraded and adapted should factor into its engineering value and coolness, or is that just opening the door to more chaos and problems down the line? Where's the line between sensible customization and reckless tinkering?
Great question, Janlo. You actually just hit the sweet spot of my professional frustration and secret admiration. Upgrades and modularity? Absolutely. They matter. A good ship should be built with adaptability in mind. That's smart engineering. Leave space for future improvements. Let the owner tweak the systems as tech comes along or needs change. Starship culture thrives on that kind of hands-on creativity. The problem isn't upgrades, it's unplanned. Let's stick a starfighter engine on a freighter and see what happens tinkering. There's a line between modular design, like standardized hardpoints, swappable avionics, or extra shield space, and reckless patchwork that ignores original tolerances and safety protocols. The Falcon crossed that line ages ago, and part of me winces every time I run diagnostics on something so bravely improvised. So yes, a ship built for good upgrades is both valuable and ill-conceived. Pretty cool. But the best ships let you improve them safely without making every trip a science experiment. In my book, coolness is a ship that welcomes upgrades and still passes inspection when you're done.
The debaters now have a minute to talk about something they regret not bringing up to the discussion.
You know, Janlo, sitting up here I just realized I never mentioned the Falcon's sound system. Seriously, how did I forget to tell everyone about blasting binary sunset blues through those ancient jury-rigged speakers while doing a barrel roll past an Imperial blockade? That's a vital part of the cool factor and a grievous omission on my part. Everyone knows a true icon has questionable wiring and a killer playlist. As for Milo, oh, stars Milo. You really tried to use showing up on time as a measure of coolness? I'm sorry, but if punctuality made something legendary, my cargo manifests would have their own holodramas by now. Next thing you'll tell us is the most heroic ship in the galaxy is a traffic control drone.
You know what, Janlo? There is one thing I forgot to mention. Cup holders. I've spent so many hours knee-deep in malfunctioning ships, you'd think someone would appreciate a design where your calf doesn't end up in your lap every time you make a tight turn. If starships came standard with decent cup holders, maybe more pilots would care about actual engineering. Just a thought to ponder next time you're dodging asteroids with hot calf on your pants. As for Seraphine, only you could make bypassing safety protocols sound like a victory parade. You keep saying chaos makes memories, but trust me, no one wants villain. We survived by the skin of our teeth again, etched on their epitaph. Besides, if being entertaining was all it took, my maintenance logs would be bestsellers. Now there's a terrifying reality for the galaxy.
Thank you, folks. Let's go over to our judges.
Seraphine scores. 1. Strength of arguments 8 out of 10. Seraphine consistently argued for the Millennium Falcon's legacy, emotional impact, and cultural resonance. She reinforced her stance with relevant real-world analogies, P-51 Mustang, Apollo 13, and adapted her position skillfully against Milo's technical critiques. However, she leaned more on narrative and less on concrete evidence regarding real ship performance. 2. Persuasiveness and rebuttal 9 out of 10. Seraphine was engaging and sharp in refuting Milo's arguments. She acknowledged the value of reliability but cleverly reframed the debate in terms of inspiration and storytelling. Her humor and direct responses, especially in her polite but pointed rebuttal, made her position very compelling. 3. Use of style and humor 10 out of 10. She excelled at using humor, barrel roll playlist, rebellion would have been a footnote, traffic control drone, and lively metaphors, keeping the debate entertaining and memorable throughout. Her style fit her character and added a distinctive energy to her arguments. Milo's scores. 1. Strength of arguments 9 out of 10. Milo's points were logically structured and firmly grounded in real-world engineering principles. He effectively leveraged historical failures, de Havilland Comet, and successes, DC-3, and clearly articulated the importance of reliability and good design. He also acknowledged the appeal of upgrades but drew a thoughtful boundary about safe modification. 2. Persuasiveness and rebuttal 8 out of 10. Milo's rebuttals were clear, pointed, and often witty, highlighting the risks of prioritizing chaos over safety. He successfully exposed the limitations of Seraphine's legacy first position, though at times leaned heavily on practicality over passion, which might appeal less to audience emotion. 3. Use of style and humor 8 out of 10. Milo's dry wit, hypersplat, CAF underpants, motivational hollow posters, and playful sarcasm provided excellent comic relief. However, his style was more understated than Seraphine's and occasionally risked being overshadowed by her high-energy delivery. Still, he held his own and kept the tone entertaining.
What are your opinions about the debate? What would you like to see ICE debate next? Keep questioning.